Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Amy, or Amy Louise. If you are new here, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and make sure the notification bell is on. Make sure you don't miss a future video in the future. Today I am going to do a full face video. I've done my eyes, so if you want to see how I did my eyes, there will be a video. I'll link it down below. I don't know which one will be up first because obviously I'm filming them both at the same time. Technically this is a video within the video. So yeah, if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link. It'll either be the video before this or the video after this. So yeah, if you want to see that, check that out. But I've been requested to do a full face, like a base video, and I've realised that there's only 2 videos on my channel that are like skin. Usually it's like foundation Fridays or eye tutorials. So let's get in with skin. First off, I'm going in with moisturiser. I go in with 1 or 2, either one of these. I do usually do moisturiser before makeup, before I even do like brows and stuff, but I wanted to include this in the video. I do have lip balm on, always wear lip balm. The first thing you should be doing after you've washed your face, put moisturiser on, put lip balm on. If you're not, you're massively missing out. Now usually I do go in with sunscreen. I'm not today just because I'm not going anywhere. I'm literally filming these videos and I'm getting a bath. Like I'm doing makeup to take it off to get in the bath. So usually sunscreen, specifically if you're going outside, sunscreen, but obviously I'm not today. There's no point. So I usually leave this to sit for a couple of minutes so that it's got time to sink into the skin and do its business. I'm going in with a primer. I'm going in with my Huda Beauty Water Jelly Primer. You don't have to use a primer. I like primers. And my skin is loving this one at the minute. If you want to see how I do my brows, I do have a video on that too. I've just shaved the tail off my brow because my brow actually like comes down to here naturally, and I do shave off some of it, but I decided to shave like this full like 1-inch section off so that I've got like more room to play with my eyeshadow. So if you want to check that out, I'll link that down below too if I remember, because my memory is shocking. Is that Little Mermaid? I think that's Little Mermaid. I'm going in with my NARS Soft Matte Foundation. This is my favourite foundation. It's amazing. If you want to know like what's the word? Variety of my favourite foundations, I do have a My Ridiculous Foundation collection video, which is ridiculous, but it goes through. I can't open it because my moisturiser on my hands. It goes through and I tell you like little mini reviews on each foundation that I've got in my collection, what I think, and I've also got a video coming up which is my top 5 foundations that I absolutely love. I've put my foundation on a palette. I'm going in with this foundation brush. This is my Morphe Y6. I love either this brush, the Sigma version of this, or this, which is actually a blush brush, but I feel like it's too small for a blush brush. This is the Real Techniques 302 brush. This is incredible as a foundation brush. I've just washed it, so it looks amazing. But yeah, so these are my 2 fave foundation brushes, and I like to pick it up, which is not something you'll see me do in my foundation Friday videos, but I like to pick it up on my brush, work it in, and then go in, and I like to stipple my foundations on. This is where you're gonna get your high coverage Look at this. Oh, it is incredible. Don't take your foundation too close to your eye area. So stipple it on and then you can buff over. But it is just, oh, this foundation is incredible. What I like to do is once I've got all the foundation that I need on my face, is I then like to go in and I like to buff over and make sure that it's all really wet in. Around your nose you can just stipple because it is quite hard to buff over those areas, but yeah. Now when you do your eyes first, you don't need to take your foundation like all the way up. You can take it so far and then what you can do is you can go closer in with your concealer. Always make sure to get underneath your nose. So many people forget like this area. It's crazy. I'm going to use my Tantor just because I'm using blues. I don't really like to contour when I'm using blues just because I feel like it looks really cold. Blue is a cold colour. You can get warm tone blues and cold tone blues, but blue in general is like quite a cold colour. Like if you think of like, if you think about like interior design and you go into a blue room, it feels cooler than if you went into a room that was red. It's like when you go into a white room, it feels cooler than if you walk into a room that's cream, for example. I know that's like really like off topic, but it's that kind of thing. It's like colour theory. So when I'm using blues, I like to go in with a warmer Tantor, which is what I've been calling it before this was called Tantor. It's a contour. It's basically when people contour but with a bronzer and call it contour. But yeah, this is beautiful. It's not fully cold, it's not fully warm. I'm just going to use this Real Techniques buffing brush and I'm just going to pop this right under my cheekbones and I'm going in with a really light hand. And sometimes, because I've got so many baby hairs and my hair is textured, I like to just grab it. Not hard, I'm not like yanking, I'm just pulling those hairs away. And I'm just going to stipple this. And then once I'm away from that area, I can let go. And I'm going to stipple. Now, everyone's face shape's different, so you need to contour differently. This is what works for my face shape. It's not necessarily going to work for yours. So I like to either stop here or sometimes I'll bring it down and underneath my chin. And you can see I'm going in a really, really light hand. You can always go in with a little bit more, build it up. You do want it slightly darker here and lighter over here. So you can go in and build that up. And then I'm going to flick it up just a little. And then I'm just going to do the corners of my hairline. I don't like to do like the full forehead. I don't think I've got a massive forehead. Like I feel like I've got an average forehead. It's not small, but it's not big. I just want to kind of bring it in a little bit. I don't want to bring it smaller or shorter. I just want to bring it in and like round it off a little bit because I have quite a square hairline. I just want to round it out a little bit. I'm going to take my little nose contour brush. This is a Morphe E62, again James Charles collection. I have a lot of James Charles collection brushes. I'm going to tap into it and then I'm going to work it into the lid so that it's not too much. And I'm just going to really lightly, I don't like a full nose contour, so I'm just going to like contour the tip pretty much. Buff it down with the side of the brush. I'm buffing down. And then with whatever is left on, which is There is nothing really left on there. I'm just going to sweep up just to make sure that it is all blended out. And then I'm just going to go across the tip just to kind of create that button nose. But I always like to cream contour before I go in with concealer, just because that way if you take it too high you can correct it with your concealer. And the way I think of it is dark should be below light anyway. The way you've got shadows is because of your light source. So your cheekbone area, which is where you put your highlight, even if it's a matte highlight, that is where your light's hitting, and your bronzer is slightly below that because that is where your sun's hitting and that's where you're going to tan. Below that is where your shadows or your contour is, because light bouncing off something will create a shadow. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I'm going to go in with concealer now. This is a tart shape tip. I'm honestly just trying to get rid of it at this point. Why? I just... So I'm going to blend this. I'm just using a 305 from Real Techniques. I'm going to blend this out. I'm going to take it between my brows since I took so much. I'm also going to blend what I did have on my nose, and I'm gonna create like a sun rainbow shape as I blend this out. You could use a bigger brush, but I don't see the point, honestly. And then any harsh edges you can just take your finger. Usually, because I don't use that much concealer up there, I don't have an harsh edge. Blending out the what is it called? Concealer below the eye. I always like to do the outside edge first because that's where I'm going to clean up my eyeshadow. And you're just going to swipe back and forth. And then with your brush you can just tap it into place. Use any excess to join up in the middle, and then with your brush up and down from there, and it will blend out. You'll get a really nice effect from this as a matte highlight. And you can take it up the side of your nose if you really want and wear that in. This is why when I did my techniques I hate video, I showed this, and the difference between like using a small amount with a brush and a large amount with a sponge is ridiculous. You would think using a lot of concealer you would get a better coverage, and turns out you don't. And I proved it in that video. The only time you'll ever catch me willingly using a sponge is to put powder on my under eye, just because I feel like with a brush I tend to flick it up into my eye and I don't want to do that. This is Huda Beauty Sugar Cookie. Use whatever powder you want, whatever you like. I'm gonna dip in. Now that looks like a lot, but I'm actually gonna like work it into my sponge using the lid, and then pat below the eye, down the side of my nose. And this is when you don't see like that it's, I guess it's still technically baking because you are putting excess product there, but you're not putting on as much as when you see people and you can literally see the line of powder. So I'm just bouncing it and working that into my skin. And then I like to do this for my chin and my forehead. Sometimes I will put a thick layer here for when I'm doing my bronzer if I'm feeling lazy and I don't want to like be super precise, or if I'm teaching people how to do their makeup I will teach them to put like a layer there so that they can kind of they can use it as like a training wheels. So they put it there, they do their bronzer, and then they wipe it away, and they can physically see where the bronzer should be. And then as they get more confident, they can put less powder or no powder at all, because they already know where that bronzer should be. I'm then going to take a big fluffy brush. Again, this is Morphe. This is the M527. I like a really big fluffy brush. I'm going to tap into the powder and then again work it into the lid, and you can see all the excess coming off. Tap it and then go over the face, and I'm going to swirl this everywhere. If you feel like you need more, you can actually see that there's powder in the lid, so you can swirl into there and go that way. That way you're not using excess product. And this powder is incredible. It is probably the best powder I've ever used, and I've used like expensive ones and cheap ones. I do have powder that I have a mix. That is because up until using this powder, I never found a powder that did everything that I wanted. This one does. So I go like between the two. So I'm just gonna really buff, make sure that it is worked in. There's no extra product on there. Like that. Okay, bronzer. I'm using the Morphe Glamour Bronze in the shade Trailblaze. And I have no idea what brush this is. I think it's Real Techniques powder brush, which is for like setting your entire face, but I like the size and shape of this, so I'm just gonna go in with a little bit, tap off, and I'm gonna take it up high and sweep it in kind of this shape. Again, this is what works for my face shape. It's not necessarily for everyone's face shape. And I'm really like, I'm barely touching the skin. I'm just really lightly in circular motions just buffing that on the cheekbone. I'm not taking it below like where my natural like indent is. I'm not taking it any lower than that because that is contour territory. So you can see I'm right here where my cheekbone is, and I'm just going in circular motions buffing over that. Again with the corners of my hairline, and I'm making sure to buff it into my hairline. I'm not stopping at my hair, and you'll see I'm not putting any up here. I'm going to pop a little bit on my chin too, just because the sun does actually hit your chin. If you go in too much, just take your powder brush just over, and there you are. Now something else I like to do is I like to take one of these bigger fluffy brushes. Again, I think this is Real Techniques, but it is large. I'm gonna tap into my bronzer. I'm gonna take it down the sides of my nose, not as a contour, but because again the sun hits your nose, you do get bronzed on your nose. Usually it is why you get sunburn on your nose straight away. So I'm not taking it on the side, I'm taking it more on the top, and I'm just gonna dust over the top without going on the very centre, and then I'll take it and kind of work it up into my brows, and then side to side on the side of my nose, just to really buff it out. I'll take a little bit, put it under my lip too. You can do this with bronzer or blush, not bronzer or blush, bronzer or contour, just under there, and it'll create the appearance of a larger bottom lip. And then I've got another one of those brushes that I use for bronzer. I use this one for blush. Again, I just like the size and the shape of it. If you look at the other Real Techniques, which is apparently a blush brush, it is a lot more dense than this. This is a lot more flimsy. This is a lot more dense. This, I mean, it would work for like contour, maybe bronzer, but I feel like you need a bigger brush if you look at the size difference. I'm going to use my favourite of the minute. This is Coral by Beauty Bay. And I'm just going to pop it. I don't like the apples in my cheeks. It's a very old school way of applying blush. I don't apply it to the apples in my cheeks. I like to bring it further back above my bronzer. I like to leave this area pretty much clear, but I do like to sweep it. And I'll start a lot in this back edge, like where my hairline is, and sweep in like that. So you can see like the apples is it's like half on there, half off. And then I like to take it up into my temple just a little. But again, blush can be used to shape your face. It is not a contour by any means. I'm going to just pop a little bit on my nose and on my chin, but it can be used to give your face a little bit of shape if you place it correctly. Now every face shape is different. This is what works well for my face shape. I'm just going to work a little bit more into those temples. A little bit of highlight again. This is my current favourite. This is my Beauty Bay Flash. This has got to be in like every single one of my videos at the minute. I like a tiny little brush. This is the M501. And I'm just going to strategically place it. So I'm like just here, here, and here. I don't see the point in putting like a full stripe because it's not how light works, and I don't think it's that flattering. I'm just going to pop it on the bridge of my nose. I've said this so many times. If you put highlight here, it's so feminizing, even if you are female, or like born female, cis female. Putting a bit of highlighter there is just does so much for your face. A little bit on your Cupid's bow, my chin, and you can see I've still got a really nice highlight, but it's not like a stripe of highlight. I've got it just here, just here, just here. It's placed in a way that looks more natural without being like, you ain't got makeup on. I'm gonna finish my face with some setting spray. This is the Huda Beauty Resting Boss Face. Okay, so that is how I do my base makeup. Thank you for watching. If you haven't, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure the notification bell is on and hit the thumbs up. If you want to follow me and support me on my YouTube journey, please check out the link below in the description box. You can become one of my patrons, or as I like to call you, my little coffee beans. If you want to see how the finished look, eyes and lips all done, then check out that video. Like I said, I will link it down below, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.